Hello, friends. Pastor Josh here from United City Church. I hope you are doing well. Today, in my prayer time, as I was journaling, I felt this sense of, oh my word, I don't even know what to pray for in some ways. I was writing down the desires of my heart, that I both have a heart that's full of peace and yet still carrying the burdens of people, a heart that is still and yet that is still working to bring about good in this circumstance. And as I was feeling like there are just so many things to pray for, I even made a video, 6 things to pray for COVID. I was reminded of this passage from Romans chapter 8. And there's a few passages that say essentially the same thing. But here's what Romans 8:26 says. Likewise, the Spirit helps us in our weakness. For we do not know what to pray for as we ought. We don't know how we ought to pray. But the Spirit himself intercedes for us with groanings too deep for words. We don't know the right way to pray. And really, we can follow the path that Jesus taught us through the Lord's Prayer. And still, it feels like our prayers are inadequate. But here's what happens. Even in our weakness, even when we don't know what we ought to pray, even when we're feeling confused, here's my encouragement for you. It's actually Paul's encouragement for the Romans. Here it is. The Spirit of God is praying on our behalf with groanings that are too deep for words. You just get this sense of just this that the Spirit is feeling so deeply and is praying on our behalf. He's praying for you. And we see this in other places in 1 Timothy, that Jesus Christ is our mediator. He is the one who is making our prayers acceptable to God. Because we're frail and we don't know how we ought to pray, and Jesus is making them hit the ear, I should say, of God. We see in Hebrews the same thing, that Jesus ever lives to intercede for those who follow him. Jesus is living to pray for us. So the Son at the right hand of God prays for you, and the Spirit of God in your weakness prays for you. That to me is probably the most encouraging word from my own heart right now. The Spirit of God and the Son of God, Jesus, are praying for us. So my friends, be encouraged. You are being prayed for, not just by people like me or your friends. You're being prayed for by God. That's a good word.